Alright, part 2 of this set review, except, I'm not set review, I keep saying it, but it's the must-haves. It's totally not that these videos are so similar that I struggle to think, but today we're going to be looking at the must-have cards from set 3 going forward. There's going to be also with some expectations on what will come out in the future, potential like reprints for ranked rewards and things like that I personally think might happen, so that's going to be something important to keep in mind. But we're going to be going through the 3 clans that got brought in set 3. I guess I'll do this in my order of least to most favorite clans, so that we can take a look at things. As you can see, I pulled myself a nice SPPG from the DP Rate Up banner, but we're going to look at what we have for Dark Regulars, followed by Pale Moon and Dimension Police, so stick around. Alright, so getting into Dark Regulars, so we already have Reiji in Japanese, so this will be based on what Reiji actually uses. And let me tell you this much, it's not much. So, what Reiji sometimes uses is Doreen, but Doreen is reprinted as a tournament reward, so you don't need it. What Reiji does use is PGs, but you can get these from PG medals, so you don't need to roll the gacha. Literally this entire page is not really used. Gwyn the Ripper, like a 1 of, a 2 of at most, so you can either craft it or you probably already pulled it while pulling for other things in this set. So 1 or 2 Gwyn the Rippers is like the most you would possibly need. NLK is run as like a 1 of sometimes, or like a 2 of at most, but NLK is good for the fact that he is a like quality of life card, because every time you have a character fight that you struggle to beat, you just bring in your NLK deck and you can just, you know, get through that 4 less damage requirement really easily, because he sucks in your entire damage zone for that battle. And so that's really important. So NLK, good for quality of life, not so much for the gameplay. Adel Rose also will not really be used anymore. Just doesn't see use at all in Japanese after Reiji came out. This was a very much a staple in Dark Regulars before Reiji, but afterwards, not so much. Then Amon actually is usually the backup grade 3 for Dark Regulars, simply because it's like that big fat soul that you just built up with Reiji. He will enjoy it too, and basically having point and click retire is also very nice for this deck, and so you get some interesting things out of it. And overall, I mean, I think a lot of players appreciate having him as a backup because he does put in quite a lot of work, and so therefore he is pretty good. Aside from that, these grade 2s also don't see much play. You really get a lot of good cards in the next set for Dark Regulars, and it's very important to keep that in mind. And none of these grade 3s are played either, so honestly that's a very quick way to summarize Dark Regulars. Literally Amon 4 times, but it's a double rare. And then this 1 or 2 times. Some people play this, some people play this. Might see some use in the future, but not right now. Amon will get supported later on, so that's also a good thing, but neither No Life King nor Adel Rose ever will. And apart from this, Doreen is a rank reward, so you don't need it. This you can exchange with PG medal, so you don't need it. So that's that. That really is that. Like, none of these other cards are really run, and that's just the reality of it. Sometimes this, but that's about it. So for Dark Regulars, it's a very easy pass. There really isn't much that survives. But for Pale Moon, it's a completely different story. The majority of the cards actually do see a lot of play, especially the higher rarity ones. So for Pale Moon, Purple Trapezist is a must. Is a must, a must, a must. This is a 3 of in Lukier. Sometimes 4 of, really depends. Like, you can get away with 2, but generally 3 or 4 is what you want to be playing. In my opinion, 3 is ideal, but this card is super important because it's your combo enabler, it's your extender, it helps you filter your field to, like, you know, exchange the grade 3s into grade 2s to make sure you can survive extra turns. It's just amazing. Purple Trapeze will be an absolute must. However, she does have an alternate art, and any card that has an alternate art in this game, I always think maybe this will be a rank reward one day. And either a rank reward or a tournament reward too. So that's what they seem to be doing, is they put the reprints, like the art reprints, into the tournament rewards, and then they now are doing like the rank rewards to be new art, which I think is a pretty cool initiative, so I like the new art a lot. But yeah, Purple Trapezist right now is a must. Might get reprinted in the future, we don't really know, but regardless, it's a must. It really is like a must in Pale Moon. Then Turquoise is a rare that like some variants of Lukier do run, so you do want to pick up 4. Midnight Bunny is a card that some decks run. Skull Juggler definitely is run. So that's like literally most of the grade 1s are run. It's pretty wild. Then the Nitro Juggler is run always, basically. The Tenki Vanilla, of course, is a common, but it is run as well. And then Crimson Beast Tamer in the Crimson Beast Tamer version of the deck that I covered is absolutely a must. So this card is a 4 of, not less, has to be 4. But yeah, so if you still need that, I think it's still on rate up right now, so do roll for it. This will be very, very important in the future, in my opinion. It's either this or Fortress, but I personally find this variant to be stronger, in my opinion. So that's that. Jumping Jill sees some use in some decks, especially if you don't have the Crimson Beast Tamers. Jumping Jill does a similar thing, but of course has to be called from Soul for that, so that's an important thing to know. Then Robert falls off completely, it was already falling off on release. Golden Beast Tamer sadly gets replaced. This does put in a lot of work in early Pale Moon, but with Lugia coming out, it is no longer necessary. This is played at a couple in the Crimson Beast Tamer version of the deck, so you do want this as a rare. This, not really, does fall off. This gets replaced as well, and that actually is it. The last card to look at is, of course, Alice. Alice is very important. If you can have 4, please have 4, but keep in mind, she will most likely be a ranked reward. And so if she's a ranked reward, you can grind her out. Just get Legend 40, or Legend 50 actually, Legend 50. So if you pulled 1, you can stop at Legend 30, pulled 2, you can stop at Legend 20, but we don't know when yet, but it should be in the future, because Alice is very, very important. She will stay very important, she gets supported in the future, so there's a lot of, you know, a lot to expect, but keep in mind, she's a rank reward. You don't have to go into the gacha for her, but you have to go into the gacha for Purple Trapezist as well as Crimson Beast Tamer. So if you get Alice's, you're good. Also, of course, PGs are very important. And that kind of sums up Pale Moon. You really do need quite a lot of stuff, and that's just how it is. Also, while I'm talking about this, I should point you to my dear co-caster Kai. On his channel, he's been taking a look at how to like take decks from nothing to like full max rarity. So it basically looks at like the steps you would make, like let's say if you only pulled 1 or 2 of a card, but you still want to build a clan, so like he kind of helps you walk through like different clans. So you might want to take a look at those videos, because especially with the previous set stuff, so set 2 stuff, he's already covered Kagero as well as OTT, I think, so you might want to take a look at that. That will be pretty helpful. So this was Pale Moon. Like I said, pretty clear on what is key. Dimension Police has not been supported in Japanese yet, but is looking to be the support next month, and absolutely the card that lasts forever as one of the best cards ever printed in this clan. The reason why they started printing bad cards for Dimension Police is Commander Laurel. So the big man Laurel himself, of course, is going to be basically a mainstay for Dimension Police for as long as time. Like literally, this card would still be played in physical Vanguard right now if it wasn't for the fact that he was restricted to 1. So like if you can play him, you play him as a 1-of. And the thing is that in the TCG, he's a 4k power grade 1, whereas in 0 he's 7k. So you don't lose anything by playing him or writing him. You can't get rushed or anything more than you would normally. So Laurel, insane card. It's always going to be great. Just being able to like restand your Vanguard with all the pressure that is happening on your Vanguard is always going to be very, very threatening, and because of that, I think Laurel will always be like a must. So either pull for him right now or craft him later. Like this card you will need in every Dimension Police build, outside of maybe Cosmic Heroes in the future. But we're not getting to Cosmic Heroes for a good couple of years at least, I think, in 0, so we can definitely wait for that. But like for every Dimensional Police variant, like Dimensional Robos, like whether it's Great Dayusha, Dai Kaiser, Sin Buster, like those decks that come out over the next year and a half, I would say, will be using Laurel. Like as easy as that. Very easy to predict in that sense. So Laurel, absolute must. Just it goes without saying in my opinion. Like it really is a must. So then, looking at the other grade ones though, like Enigmans, I don't think they're gonna come back in 0 the way they did in the TCG with the Dai Kaiser deck that first popped up with Crazy Diamonds that people remember probably. But basically, like that deck was just playing like an absurd amount of grade 3s and like little to no grade 2s, so you would run Ripple to like search your one of the very few grade 2s, so you could still ride up to grade 3, but you don't really need, I mean, you can't actually build your deck like that in 0, so that's not going to be happening. But apart from that, none of these other cards will really see much play, and I mean, most of these are commons, of course, so like just PGs and Laurels, that's kind of what you're looking at. Looking forward here, this will see use, I think, when Great Dayusha comes out. I mean, I'm going to confirm this or not in June when Great Dayusha comes out in Japanese, but just having Dimensional Robo name is pretty good, and I mean, the more Dimensional Robos you have, especially early on in the game, the better for your Goyusha Superior, right? So for that reason, it's going to be pretty nice, and so I think that will help it quite a lot. Aside from that, like Platinum Ace, again, the clan becomes quite like archetype specific with Dimensional Robos, so you want to be mostly just running Dimensional Robos. Like even Cosmobeak, as great as it is, will not see that much play later down the line, simply because, I mean, it's not Dimensional Robo, so you'll get better variants of these cards later on. Sadly, same thing goes for Enigma Storm. It just gets kind of out-creeped by Great Dayusha, and I mean later on, like, it just doesn't really need much else. It's like you'll probably be superior riding into Great Dayusha instead of Enigma and Storm, and still getting like not just the same crit, but also cross-ride base power, which is also very important. So like in the long term, Enigma and Storm, like Enigmas will get a little bit of support in the future, but not that much. So that's something to get a bit sad about, I guess. There's going to be a 10k vanilla for Dimensional Robos as well in the future, so no need to worry about that. Enigma and Wave, like I said, Enigmans don't get too much support. An important card I would say is the Cosmo Great, just for that power-up. Like, Dimensional Blaze becomes less of the whole like hit X power threshold to do something, and it's much more of just like static crit, and that's it. You don't have to like counterblast to power up and things like that. So you spend your counterblast more on cards that will come out in the future that like help you draw cards, or help you do other things. So this will be played just because. Oh wait, it's not even Dimensional Robo. Never mind. This probably will not be played for some time. But we're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Grade 3 lineups will be once the Great Dayusha comes out. But yeah, so there's quite a few things that do fall off. The one thing that does of course stay is Dayusha though. Dayusha will be played. Of course in Great Dayusha it's going to be very important in order to have your cross ride, so you want to have 4 if possible, but even 2 or 3 will be good. And then of course when it gets to the, to Daikaiser and stuff, you're still going to run him, I think. I think your Great 3s will be like 4 normal Dayusha, 4 Great Dayusha, 4 Daikaiser, plus 1 something. Just because with Goyusha you can suck in the regular Dayusha and then superior cross break ride into, or I guess superior break ride it would be, into the Great Dayusha, so that way you get the cross-ride number, cross-ride base power, plus Great Daikaiser skill for the guard break, and on top of that, you're still running Dimensional Robos, and you can suck him in with Goyusha, so it's pretty good. So I think, generally, it's a bit sad because you literally just need the triple rares, and that's the most expensive part. It's like, the thing is though, that Dayusha does have an alternate art, and I think that eventually they will distribute this. It might even be next month, honestly, in Japanese. We'll see. But because this has an alternate art, together with Daikaiser, I think they will actually release it into the game eventually. So, like, I can't say with certainty that that will happen. So you should still pick up Dayushas. But if it does, you'll hear it here first, basically. So, if you don't pick them up, then maybe you need to you can hold off from the crafting of Dayushas for now, but this is definitely the card that will be needed later on. So that's why, like in Japanese, I literally scrambled to craft my 4th one as soon as possible because it's going to be so necessary when Great Dayusha comes out. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, that basically covers it for Dimension Police as well, and for this whole set 3. So set 3 is not as impactful. Unfortunately, it has a lot of these staples for the clans, like Pale Moon and Dimension Police, but aside from that, it doesn't impact the meta as much compared to the next set, where when Majesty Lord Blaster and the End and Phantom Blaster Overlord come in, that's gonna throw things for a doozy. That's gonna be a big change to the entire game. So I think there's a lot of things to be excited for in the future. But right now, this is kind of what you gotta have for this set. So I hope that this video was informative for those of you that are passionate about these clans, and hopefully you guys did enjoy it and got to see some nice things here as well. So yeah, that's basically gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.